Hiya, my name is Marijke Walters. I am founder and principal teacher of Math Solutions. I am a secondary qualified maths teacher, a specialist dyscalculia teacher, and a dyscalculia assessor. Hopefully this lesson that I'm going to show you today will help you make sense of adding and subtracting negative numbers. Before doing any work on negative numbers, you need to make sure that your learner understands the concept. A really easy way to explain this is with temperature. We've got positive temperatures which are above zero, negative temperatures which are below zero. It's the temperature model that we will be working with today. So assuming that your learner is okay with this, we will now move on to the start of the lesson. I like to think of working with negative and positive numbers as of working with hot and cold temperatures. I like to think of a pot, a cooking pot, a cauldron, anything like that. So the temperature in my pot is now 10 degrees. You can see that from the thermometer here. You need to make sure that your learner understands the scale on the thermometer, that they know this is 0 degrees, 5 degrees, and 10 degrees. That the thermometer goes up that way, and the temperature goes down that way. Here, the temperature is 0 degrees, as you can see from the thermometer. And in this picture, the temperature is negative. The temperature is negative 10. You can see that because of the little negative sign, which is in front of the temperature. And you can see that also because it is below zero. So if we now go back to our first temperature of 10 degrees, the temperature is 10 degrees. If we add on 2 degrees, does it get hotter or colder? Well, let's have a look. Temperature is 10 degrees. We add on 2 degrees. It is now 12 degrees. It gets hotter. 10 plus 2 is 12. We're back on 10 degrees. We're back with our pot on 10 degrees. This time, however, we are going to subtract or take away 2 degrees. So we've got our 10. We're now subtracting, taking away, or going down by 2 degrees. Does it get hotter or colder? I know that you know that it gets colder. What's the temperature now? The temperature is now 8 degrees because 10 minus 2 equals 8. What if we now talk about really cold temperatures or really low temperatures? We have got our cauldron now, which is at negative 10. So it's really cold in our cauldron. It's negative 10, it's, more than freezing. We are now adding on 2 degrees. Does it get hotter or colder? When we're adding 2 degrees, we're adding warmth. So the temperature goes up by 2 degrees. And instead of negative 10, it is now negative 8 degrees. However, if I'm back on my negative 10 degrees, and instead of adding 2 degrees or adding warmth, I'm now subtracting 2 degrees. I'm now taking away the warmth. So I'm going down by another 2 degrees. So negative 10 take away 2 is negative 12. What does all this mean really practically when we are doing our questions, when we're trying to solve our negative number problems? So let's have a look. The question is, add 5 to 3. So 5 plus 3 equals what? Now, I know you know that, but let's just go through the motions. Where do we start? We start on 5 degrees. We start there. We are adding on 3 degrees. So we are adding on some warmth. Does it get hotter or colder? It gets hotter. it gets 3 degrees hotter. 1, 2, 3, and it is now 8 degrees. Now we're back to our 5 degrees. So we start on 5 degrees again. There we are. Starting point is 5 degrees. We're taking away 4. So we're taking away the warmth. We're taking away 4 degrees. So we go down from 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we end up at 1 degree centigrade. Now we're starting on 3. Where is 3? 0 is there. 1, 2, 3. 3 degrees is there. We're taking away 5 degrees. We're taking away the warmth. Does it get hotter or colder? It gets colder. So we're going down the thermometer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where did we end up now? Well, we're below 0. We've now ended up at -2. 3 take away 5 is -2. Last question here. We're starting at 2 degrees now. Starting point is 2 degrees. 2 degrees is there. And we're taking away 7. Does it get hotter or colder? It gets colder. So we're going down 7 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we end up at -5. Now, we are going to start from negative numbers. So you can see in front of all these numbers, there is a little negative sign. So we're starting at -5. -5 is there. We're adding 3. Does it get hotter or colder? It gets hotter. We're going up by 3 degrees. 1, 2, 3. And we end up at -2. -5 again. Now we're taking away 4. Does it get hotter or colder? It gets colder by 4 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4. -5 take away 4 is -9. Away 5. -3. -3. Take away 5. It gets colder by 5 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are now on -8. -3 take away 5 is -8. And finally, we are starting on -2. Where is -2? There. -2 take away 7. Does it get hotter or colder? It gets colder. How much colder? 7 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we finish up at -9. Now, I hope while I've been talking, you've noticed something. Okay. And it's something very subtle, but very, very important. I want you to have a look at this. I'll move myself to the side. So this is a negative number. This is taking away or subtracting a number. So what's the same? Well, they both have to. Okay. What's different? What's different is the way this is written. This is a small negative sign, which is higher placed in front of the number. This is an operation. This means take away or subtract or minus. It's really important that we focus on that difference. So if we take it a little bit further, look at all these notations. So we all start with 4. So that's the same for all 3 examples. They all have the number 2. That's the same for all 3 examples again. Now, let's focus on the first example. Can you see that here we are adding a negative number? Here we are adding a positive number. And here we are taking away a negative number. Now, I'm making quite a big deal of it because most of the time in school, or even your teacher will say, okay, add a minus, add a positive, take away a minus. That is very confusing when you're learning about negative numbers. What we do is we take away, we subtract, or we minus something. Those are the operations. Those are the things we do. Now, what is it that we're taking away or subtracting or minusing? It's the number. And the number can be positive or negative. Very important difference. What we don't do, we don't take away the minus. We don't minus a minus. We don't plus a minus, and we don't minus a plus. Yeah? We take away, we minus, we plus a number, a positive or a negative number. So please don't say a minus and a minus makes a plus, because that will confuse so many people. So many children come to me saying -2 and -4 is +6 because a minus and a minus makes a plus. Okay, right. What we do say is we take away a negative number. So let's do some examples now. We'll talk about hotter and colder again. So this is the idea that we're using, hotter or colder. Let's analyze this first question. We are doing 4. And we're adding on a positive number. Does it get hotter or colder? It will get hotter. So we're on 4. It will get hotter. So we go up the number line. It gets hotter by 2 degrees. So the answer is 6. If we now start at 4 degrees again, and this time we're adding a negative number. So when we're adding a negative number, we are adding, you could almost say we are adding the cold. If we are adding the cold, it gets colder. How many degrees colder? 2. So 4 plus -2 is 2. We start at 4, it gets 2 degrees colder. Next example. We're starting at 4 again. And now we're taking away, or we're subtracting a negative number. So what we're doing is we're taking away the cold. What happens when you take away the cold? It gets warmer. How much warmer? 2 degrees. So we start at 4, we take away the cold, it gets warmer by 2 degrees. 4 take away -2 is 6. We will practice this, don't worry. Now it's something very similar to the previous one, but now we're starting at -4. I'll move myself over there. Okay. -4 is over there. So we're starting at -4. We're adding +2. -4, we know where that is. That's there. We're adding a +2. Does it get hotter or colder? Well, we're adding the warmth. So the temperature will go up. It will get hotter. So -4 plus +2 will now go up. From -4 to -2. What happens if we take away a positive number? -4, take away +2. Well, now we take away the warm and it gets colder. It gets 2 degrees colder. So we go from -4 down to -6. What about the next one? Again, we're starting at -4. But now we're adding -2. So what does that mean? Well, that means we're adding more cold. Does the temperature go up or down? It gets colder. 2 degrees colder. So -4 plus -2 is -6, because we start at -4 and it gets 2 degrees colder. And the final example, -4 again, but this time we're taking away -2. So this time we take away the cold. When we take away the cold, it gets warmer. How much warmer? 2 degrees. So -4, take away -2 is taking away the cold, is making it warmer. So we go from -4 up to -2. So let's put some questions together and start using this. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is when we have a positive number, we don't have to write the little plus sign in front of it. I've done it so far to make a clear difference between the positive and the negative numbers. When we add a positive number or we take away a positive number, we usually don't write the plus sign. But you do have to know that a number with no positive in front of it or no negative in front of it is a positive number. Okay. First question. 5 plus 2. You all know that it's 5. I'm adding on 2. It gets warmer. We get 7. -5 plus 2. It's quite cold. It's -5. Quite cold. We're adding on 2. It gets warmer. And it's now -3. Next question. -5 plus -2. Okay, here we go. We're adding on something cold. Does it get hotter or colder? It gets colder. So the temperature will be going down. Instead of -5, we now get -7. +4, there's no plus in front of it, but we know it's a +4. 4 plus -6, we are adding on a negative number. We are adding on the cold. It gets a lot colder. How much colder? 6 degrees colder. 4 plus -6 is -2. Now, if your student is struggling with going past step 4, just tell them to draw a quick number line like this, put a 0 in the middle. This can be really quick and rough. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where did we start? We started on 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where we started. And how much colder is it getting? 6. So we're going down 6 degrees, or we're traveling to the left on the number line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then they can see that this is -1 on -2. You can do that with a horizontal number line like that, or if your student prefers, they can draw a vertical number line as long as they put 0 on there first. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter how many you put on there, just they can choose. But you do obviously have to start from 4. So again, 4, we take away 6. So let's look at the question again. 4 add -6. We start at 4. It gets colder by 6 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we end up at -2. And if that's how your learner needs to do it, by using a number line, then that's absolutely fine. Okay, next question. Now we're on -5. It's quite cold. And we're taking away -2. So we're taking away the cold. We're taking away the cold. It means it gets warmer. So -5, take away -2 is now -3. It gets warmer by 2 degrees. What about this one? 4 or +4. Take away -5. We're taking away the cold. It gets warmer. How much warmer? 5 degrees. So the answer is 9. Let's do some more examples. Again, we've got positive numbers here, and we're not writing the little positive sign there. We don't say positive, we assume that they are positive, and we don't write the little plus. There we go. 7 plus 3, you know that gets warmer. 7 plus 3 is 10. -8 plus 4 gets warmer. -8 plus 4, again, if your learner's not sure, ask them to draw a little number line. One of those or one of those. We put the 0 in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. -8. You can see it doesn't have to be really neat. It's just to help them visualize it. The question was -8 plus 4. -8 plus 1, 2, 3, 4 gives you a -4. There we go. Now we're off again. -10 plus -2. It gets colder because we're adding on the cold. We're adding on a negative. How much colder? 2 degrees. So -10 goes to -12. 10 plus -6. We're adding on the cold. It gets colder. Gets colder by 6 degrees. So the answer is 4. -2. We're taking away the cold. When we take away the cold, it gets warmer. How much warmer? 2 degrees. So -9 becomes -7. The temperature goes up a little bit. 15, take away -5. We are taking away a negative number. It goes warmer. How much warmer? 5 degrees. So instead of 15 degrees or 15, take away -5 is 20. Okay, so before I'm going to give you a set of questions to do, let's just quickly recap what we've learned. So when we're working with negative numbers, okay, and when we take away a negative number, it's the same as saying, take away the cold. When you take away the cold, it gets warmer. So we could actually say, instead of taking away a negative, we're adding that number. So if we have 5 and we take away a -2, what we really do is we can rewrite this as 5 plus 2. And this is why a lot of people say 2 negatives makes a plus. That's where that comes from. Okay, for us, I would like to start thinking taking away a negative makes it warmer. So taking away a negative is the same as adding. Okay, so let's have a look at some questions. So here are some questions for you to do. Pause the video, have a go, and then come back and check the answers, okay? Here are the answers. I also realized I've asked you the same question twice, so this is a repeat of this one, but never mind. So have a look at the answers. I'm hoping this makes a lot more sense to you now. Okay, if you're not sure, it might be because you've been rushing it a little bit. So if you didn't get these, it might be a good idea to go back to the beginning of the video and just work through it again. Okay, now I want to end by showing you a lovely resource. And this resource is from Enrich. It's called Connect 3. I will put the link in the information as well, but if you Google, or just if you Google Enrich and you put in Connect 3, you will get this lovely game. So it looks like this. So this is the Enrich website. Okay. You can go into settings and you can put it in a bigger window, and you can put in, you can play against your student or your child, you can play against the computer, you can put a helper in. So if we put this in a resizable pop-up window, then we get a nice big screen like that. Now, how does it work? You spin, so there's 2 levels of this. This is the first level. So you spin, and you get your 2 numbers. You can drag your numbers in there. You can swap them around, and you can add them, or you can take them away. So if I do 4 take away 2, I've decided that's the one I want to do. I click on place counter, and it gets my answer for me. Then it's the computer's turn. You do have to spin for the computer. Bless him. And then it's the same thing. Now the computer does it himself. There we go. The computer has done 2 take away 4, and will now place it on -2. So the aim of the game is to be the first one to have 3 in a line. That's why it's called Connect 3. Okay. So Here we go. I hope this helps you make a little bit more sense of adding and subtracting negative numbers. And I want to thank you for watching and hope to see you soon. Bye.